Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the agriculture sector has slammed the rise in the national minimum wage. Agri-SA says the 9.6% increase will cause further strain on already hard-pressed farmers. The organization has made a submission proposing a CPI minus 2% increase in the national minimum wage. For more on this, we are joined by Agri-SA's Johan Wege. Mr. Wege, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. And this is exactly what we were discussing as a team behind the scenes on how difficult life has been all around and how employers are going to be able to afford a minimum of 4,000 Rand a month when things have been so tight already.
Yeah, no, indeed. Just a little bit of a blow to us. And I must be honest, we need to put a lid on the cost increases a little bit. Things are getting out of hand. We expected an increase, and Agri-SA is not against national minimum wage increase or inflation-related increase. We're not against that. In fact, we foresee that, and it's important that our staff and workers also receive an increase on that side. But on the other hand, we've seen inflation-related increases over the last couple of years of more than inflation, and that makes it very difficult.
And I mean, were you hoping for a less than 9.6% at least?
Yeah, we were working on CPI and hoping. We asked for CPI minus 2 and have that sort of provided for that space that we might not get it. I must just admit, indicate here that 4 of the commissioners of the National Minimum Wage Commission indicated CPI and a little bit more, but not CPI plus 2%. We've seen these increases over the last couple of years, and it makes it very difficult in the farming community. We need to point out also that agriculture in general has passed mining in terms of employment. We now around about 850 to 900,000 people that we do employ. And agriculture in general is basically the one sector that can take up unskilled workers. And it's actually becoming quite an important sector regarding employment. But this is a severe blow to us.
Now, does this also put at risk people's jobs in the agriculture or mining or farming sector? Because if you're going to be able to afford 4,000 Rand, you might have to let go of a few workers. Is this going to put people's jobs at risk?
Yeah, I'm always very careful to give you a straight answer. So allow me to explain a little bit. Okay. Yes, I do think, in certain sectors, there might be some job losses. That is definitely so. But then keep in mind, on the other hand, there are also certain sectors that are growing. So what we lose in the one sector, we might have, in the agricultural sector, we might see a take up on the other side. So this is very, very difficult, but ultimately it does lead to job losses. We're not going to see job losses immediately. There's normally about it can take some time. It can take up to a year. It can take up to 2 years for this whole thing to fiddle through. But the point that we're trying to drive home here is that we've seen these above inflation increases, and that's actually where the trouble is. It becomes compounded, and that makes the sector a little bit of a target, for restructuring in a way. And we need to look very carefully where we're going with all the costs and how we're actually going to absorb the cost increases once that we've seen over the last couple of, shall I say, months, but in particular years when it comes to national minimum wage.
And of course, I assume that the other difficulty is the fact that we're on load shedding at the moment, stage 6 rolling blackouts, and the agriculture sector has been saying that this has had a huge strain on the sector and farmers already. More than 100 days of load shedding so far in the country. So I imagine it's just going to add, because load shedding itself is also inflationary.
Yeah, it certainly does. Running generators and keep the systems going is not an easy one. And on top of that, it also comes with an extra cost. But that's not the only issue when it comes to making things difficult in the rural areas. We're battling with infrastructure problems.
Yeah.
that's becoming a massive issue. On top of that, the farming community is forking out more and more money, not only for their own sake, but also for the sake of the workers on security. So those things do add up, and ultimately, it does put a tremendous amount of strain on the farming sector in general. So you're right that it becomes a difficult task.
Well, let's hope that a little later on today, during his budget speech, there'll be something for the agriculture sector as well. Agri-SA's Johan speaking to us there.